What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we got some great news on these two key pieces of the Vikings' future. Left tackle Christian Darrisaw, Kevin O'Connell, gave us an update on where he is in his ACL and MCL rehab process, and then also J.J. McCarthy. Apparently, the franchise quarterback has been putting on some weight as of late, so we get you guys information on those two guys. But before we do so, JJ and Christian Darrisaw dealt with some bad injuries this past season. So if you guys want the Minnesota Vikings to stay healthy next season, don't jinx us. Go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. I put the goal on today's show is 500 likes. So if you guys want to help me out, hit that thumbs up button and like today's video if you guys want the Minnesota Vikings to stay healthy all next season. All right, so one of the best beat reporters in the game for The Athletic, Alec Lewis, tweeted this out yesterday, saying all J.J. McCarthy combo today was very positive. Sounds like he's doing great from a weight perspective. Back over 200 pounds, all things trending well for spring, and think he took a lot out of this past season. Now, Kevin O'Connell, when he was talking about it, he also mentioned that J.J., like the use of the VR headset was so key for his development. But then also all the reports we were getting, JJ is at about 170, 180 pounds, and people were freaking out. And that's why I didn't really panic, because this is not a shocker whatsoever that JJ is back over 200 pounds. He has a meal plan and a weight training program with an NFL team. You knew he was going to be able to put on some weight very, very fast. So I think, not a big shocker to me that he is already up over 200 pounds. When he checked in for the scouting combine this time last season, he was actually around 220 pounds. I'm assuming that sweet spot for JJ is around 210, 215. Still keep his mobility, but at least be able to withstand some of the big-time hits that he would be taking in the NFL. But with after Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi talking about the QB position, I think it sounds like he is no doubt QB1. Now, obviously, they didn't come out and say, hey, we're moving on from Sam Darnold. But every time they talked about Darnold today, it was in the past tense. Oh, Darnold, he had a great season for us this past year. We got all types of respect for what Darnold did. They never talked about Darnold in the future tense and saying what he could do for the team. It was all past tense. So I do think it is no doubt J.J. McCarthy will be QB1. You maybe ask yourself why. Why J.J. McCarthy? Like, it seems like the obvious answer. But for a guy like Darnold, who only lost to 2 football teams this past season, threw for 35-plus touchdowns, it definitely is a head-scratcher. But I think the biggest reason is J.J.'s on his rookie contract. There is no bigger advantage an NFL team can have than a rookie quarterback on that rookie deal. And we've talked about the intangibles all the time here on the show. He was out, giving homeless people tents in the Minnesota area. He was handing out pizzas. He's just a really good guy. And honestly, he is everything you would want, outside of the football field in a franchise quarterback. Then also the playmaking ability. That's one of the most underrated aspects of his game. These 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 and long situations. He can just scramble out of the pocket, play some backyard football, and make a play. And then he's also got an elite arm. Like, I think people really undervalue that in terms of when they are evaluating J.J. McCarthy, is just how strong his arm truly is. And then also, he's just a winner. This guy has lost 4 games since his freshman year of high school. Really let that sink in. 4 losses since he was a starter his freshman year at Nazareth Academy in Chicago, Illinois. But a lot of conversation. Who could be the backup quarterback? Will it be Daniel Jones? Well, Kwesi Adolphus-Mensah actually talked about this yesterday.
We try and not be as binary with the quarterback conversation as others are. We're either you're one of the top 3 or you're nobody, and so we kind of talk about it a little differently. But Daniel's somebody we wanted to bring in for that reason, just to learn about him, see what he would be like in our building and our culture. He's a great option for us. And again, he's like the other options we have. We'll think about him, go forward.
All right, so it's sounding like Daniel Jones will be back with the Minnesota Vikings this next season, and I'm all in for it. I think it would be a great bridge quarterback option. And, the biggest argument I was making why I think Darnold could be successful this past year is because he was coming from the San Francisco 49ers, and, when he was with the New York Jets, Carolina Panthers, he never had a great support system. Well, I can make the same argument for Daniel Jones 100%. Like, Daniel Jones, when he was with the New York Giants, they had an okay support system. It was never great by any means, and him being in this organization this past season, just, learning from Darnold, Josh McCown, Wes Phillips, Kevin O'Connell, like, he has probably taken so many strides in the mental side of the game. And I think if you could get him back on a 1-year, $6-7 million deal, I think the Vikings have to do it. But on Sam Darnold, I do think the Minnesota Vikings will be looking to tag and trade Darnold this week. Now, the exact date on that is next Monday at, I believe, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So we will be having a video once that deadline passes 100%. So also make sure you guys are subscribed and turn on those notifications. But the way they are talking, I think they're going to try to at least get like a third, fourth round pick for Darnold. And if you think about like, oh, the Giants, the Steelers, the Raiders, all these teams that are in desperate need of a quarterback, do they want to roll into the NFL draft with some uncertainty at that position, the most important position in all of sports? So I do think there is a chance where the Vikings could put the tag on Darnold. Everybody would be freaking out. But I also will say this. The only way the Vikings put the tag on Darnold is if they have a handshake agreement where they will be performing a tag and trade. I don't think they would just tag him in hopes that a team would trade for him. I think they would need a definite answer, being like, yeah, we will throw you that third-round pick to guarantee that Darnold would come to our team. Definitely a tough decision for the Vikes, but I think it's pretty easy. If I was answering this question, I'm either typing T or W. But what would you do with Sam Darnold? Give me a T for tag. Give me an E if you guys are saying we need to roll with Sam Darnold for the next couple of seasons and you would want to extend him, type those E's. But if you guys are cool with just letting Sam Darnold walk out the door, thank you for what you did for the Vikings this past season. Just give me a W down below. All right, so we did get a new update on Christian Darrisaw coming in from Kevin O'Connell. And it's an absolute positive one. You know, I was a little nervous that Darrisaw could miss week 1 of next season just because he is coming off a torn ACL and MCL. But Kevin O'Connell talked to the media yesterday about Christian Darrisaw, and check out what he had to say.
Really, I don't know how many times in the history of football it's happened where you can lose a franchise left tackle and win 9 games in a row after that. So I think it speaks a lot to Cam Robinson, but also just when you go through the tape and you really watch CD's impact, I think he was playing as well as anybody in football through those first 6 weeks, and it was a huge loss for a lot of aspects of our play style. What we really wanted to play like through the totality of 2024. We were able to overcome it, but I'll be very much looking forward to getting CD back. He's having a great offseason, the rehab process. He's absolutely killing it every step of the way. So I look forward to seeing how his spring and summer go and get him ready to roll for 2025.
All right, so it sounds like Darrisaw will be ready for week 1 next season. And you know, during the offseason time, like, we're all talking about, like, oh, what offensive lineman could the Vikings bring in? Who could we draft? Like, yada, yada, yada. I don't think there would be any bigger addition made by any NFL team made this offseason than the Vikings getting Christian Darrisaw back. This guy is a top 5 left tackle in the league. Honestly, I think with Trent Williams reaching the age that he is, you can make an argument Darrisaw should be the number 1 rated left tackle heading in the next season. And I thought Darrisaw was coming off one of his best years as a pro. You know, we have that famous clip versus the Lions where Liam McNeil, they try to run a twist concept. He shoves them, and the Darrisaw, like, full on does a 360 and shoves him away from Sam Darnold. One of the coolest plays I've ever seen from an offensive lineman. But his PFF grades this past year graded out very, very well. Overall grade, 81.4. That was 11th. Pass block, 79.9, 19th. And run block, he was 6 out of 141 eligible tackles in the National Football League. And getting him back is going to be huge. He would be protecting J.J. McCarthy's blind side. And I just think the whole offense, especially the left guard spot, it all gets an elevated sense of production with Darrisaw in the lineup. And we saw Blake Brandel, you know, his play fell off the face of the earth last year once Darrisaw went down. And then you had Cam Robinson, Brandel. Honestly, the fact that the Vikings were able to rip off a 9-game winning streak like Kevin O'Connell was just talking about after Darrisaw went down was incredible. But I do want to show you guys I don't want to call it my dream offensive line for the Vikes because no, it's good. I'll call it my dream offensive line. Even though it's very unlikely, this is what I would love for the Vikings. So you bring Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. Obviously, they'll be back starting at the tackle spots. But then you go plug and play with Kevin Zeitler at the left guard. You cut Garrett Bradbury. You toss that money to Drew Dahlman, and then you just give the bag to Trey Smith or even a guy like Brandon Scherf at the right guard spot. I would be thrilled about. But let's just say that what you see on screen right there is the Vikings offensive line heading into next season or heading into the NFL draft. Then I am all in on the Vikings taking a running back in round 1. Now, you would probably still have some needs at the defensive line and the cornerback position, but if that is the offensive line the Vikings are rolling out, I'm down to saying screw it. Let's just create the best offensive personnel in the National Football League. Like, what if you drafted Ashton Genty, like you traded up a couple of spots and you landed him, and then you had Trey Smith, Dahlman, Zeitler, Darrisaw, O'Neal, the weapons on the outside, and Jefferson, Addison, Hockenson. Then you had that bulldozer running back in Ashton Genty, who the Vikings are meeting with. So clearly they have some interest there. They're going to attack the running back position hard. But even if it's a guy like Caleb Johnson, maybe you trade up into the second round to go get him. I could definitely see the Vikings getting active in bringing in a running back during the NFL draft. But again, if that's the offensive line out there, then I'm all in on the Vikings going big at the running back position in the NFL draft. But if you still have a glaring need at maybe the guard spot or the corner or defensive tackle spot, then I would probably hope the first-round pick goes there. But I already know my reaction if the Vikings are on the clock at pick 24, and let's just say hypothetically Genty is there, and maybe a guy like Tyler Booker, I know myself, if that is the situation, I will be all over Genty being the pick for the Minnesota Vikings. But it is sounding like Christian Darrisaw rehabbing very well from the torn ACL and MCL. So let's show him some love to close out today's show. Type those 71s, type his jersey number down below in the comments section. Show the franchise left tackle your guys' support down below. Now, if you guys also want to hit me up on Twitter, that's the handle right there at the bottom of your screen, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. We'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.